Hello everyone. In today's session, we are going to learn about hydrosphere. In the previous session, we have learned about the ecological succession and also xerosphere. So, we have seen that in ecological succession, a particular area is occupied by various plant communities, one after the other, and at the end is occupied by the climax community. These stages are called as serial stages and the entire process is called as ecological succession. It could be of two types, primary succession and secondary succession. Primary succession occurs where there is bare rock or newly formed water body where there is no presence of soil. Secondary succession occurs on already present in one particular place where there is soil already present. They could be either xeroxeric, that is, the plant succession occurs in the xeric conditions or dry conditions, or in water, that is hydrosphere. A hydrosphere is a plant succession which occurs in an area of fresh water such as lakes, ponds, ditches, etc. The same pond or lake in time will naturally dry slowly and ultimately becomes woodland. During this change, a range of different land types such as swamp and marsh will succeed one another. The succession from open water to climax woodland takes centuries or even millennia. Some intermediate stages will last a shorter time than others. For example, a swamp may change to marsh within a decade or less. This change, that is how long it takes, the time which is taken for this particular change depends largely on the amount of siltation, that is the amount of particles that come along with runoff, that is the water which is coming from other areas, that siltation occurring in one particular area of open water. So this is a diagrammatical representation of what we are going to learn in the next few minutes. This is the newly formed water body, which is occupied by phytoplanktons in the first stage, then the rooted submerged plants, then rooted plants with floating leaves, then reed and swamp stage, then sedge, marsh or meadow stage, then woodland stage, and then lastly the forest stage. The same water body is occupied by various kinds of plants communities over a period of time. As we discussed earlier, it could be centuries or it could be millennia also. So the time taken from one stage to go to the next stage also depends upon the amount of soil which is coming into that particular water body. See here, there is no soil at all. Slowly the soil is formed in the second stage and the soil buildup is increased from one stage to the other stage, so that at the end the entire water body has been converted to a forest area. So these are all the stages. We are going to learn about them one after the other. The hydrosphere is a primary succession sequence which develops in aquatic environments such as lakes, ponds, ditches, etc. It results in conversion of water body and its community into land and its community. The early changes are allogenic, that is, inorganic particles such as sand, clay, silt, etc. are washed from catchment areas and begin filling the basin of the water body. So, they are coming from, the changes are occurring because of external conditions. Later, remains of dead plants also fill up these bodies and contribute to further changes in the environment. Now, it has now become autogenic. By itself, it gets changed. If water body is large and very deep, a strong wave action is at work. These bodies, a noticeable change cannot be observed. In these bodies, you can't see the change that is, which is very, very noticeable in these bodies. However, in smaller water bodies such as pond, the succession is easily recognizable. Different plant communities occupy different zones in water body and they exhibit concentric zonation. That means sometimes you can see all the communities or all the serial stages in one particular pond itself, from center to the periphery or center to the edge. That means you have the phytoplankton stage in the center. A little away from the center, you have the rooted submerged plants. A little towards the periphery or the edge, you will have rooted plants with floating leaves. A little closer to the bank, you will find the sedge meadow, and then later on you can also find the woodland and forest stages. So the zonation is concentric from center to the periphery. The edges of water body are occupied by rooted species. Submerged species are found in the littoral zone, and plankton and floating species occupy the open water zone. There is still debate about whether dry woodland is always a final climax community, or whether a watery bog community can also be the final stable climax community. So you need not think that the only final climax is a forest or woodland. It could be a bog community also from the water body. The first stage of hydrosphere is phytoplankton stage. Unicellular floating algal plants such as diatoms are pioneer species. We have already learned that the first species which invade into the bare area is called as a pioneer species. So algal plants such as diatoms are pioneer species of bare water bodies such as pond. Their spores are carried by air to the pond. The phytoplankton are followed by the zooplankton. They settle down to the bottom of the pond after death and decay into humus that mixes with silt and clay particles brought into the basin by runoff water and wave action and form soil. As soil builds up, the pond becomes shallower and further environmental changes follow. Now in the first stage, there was no soil at all in the water body. Slowly, after the phytoplankton had developed on the surface of the water, zooplankton also developed. They grow, they multiply, they reproduce and grow in number, and once they grow and reproduce and die, their bodies get settled to the bottom along with the soil, clay, silt, gravel, etc., which is brought to the water body by moving water. All these things, that is, the dead bodies are decomposed by the decomposers, and it adds humus to the silt and clay and soil. So all these things will increase the level of soil in the water body. That is, the water depth will decrease. The second stage is the submerged stage. The water body has now become shallower when compared to the phytoplankton stage. It has become shallower. So more submerged rooted species are able to become established due to the increasing light penetration in the shallower water. There is suitable, this particular thing, that is light intensity, light penetration and more soil, this is suitable for the growth of rooted submerged species such as Myriophyllum, Vallisneria, Elodia, Hydrilla and Ceratophyllum. These plants root themselves in the mud and they do not emerge from the water. They are submerged inside the water, and once these species colonize and the successional changes are more rapid because these are having more biomass than the phytoplanktons or zooplanktons. These are big plants. So these have more biomass, and because of their biomass, they make the successional changes more rapid. Now it becomes autogenic, that is, the successional changes become autogenic because within itself the pond has become shallower and shallower by the day as organic matter accumulates. Inorganic sediment is still entering into the lake and is trapped more quickly because there is a net of plant roots and rhizomes growing on the pond floor. The pond becomes sufficiently shallow, that is 2 to 5 feet for floating species and less suitable for rooted submerged plants. So now the rooted submerged plants will be replaced by the rooted plants with floating leaves. So this is Vallisneria, Hydrilla, Elodia, these Ceratophyllum, these are all the plants which are rooted and submerged. The floating plants, that is the third stage, are rooted in the mud, but some or all of their leaves float on the surface of water. These species include Nymphea, Neelambo, Potamogeton, and some free-floating species are also become associated with these rooted plants. The large and broad leaves of the floating plants shade the water surface, and conditions become unsuitable for the growth of submerged species which start disappearing. These plants decay to form organic mud, which makes the pond more shallow yet. That is, from 2 to 5 feet, it is now come to 1 to 3 feet deep only. So we can find Neelambu, Nymphia, and Potamogeton. The next stage is reed swamp stage. Now the pond is invaded by emergent plants. That is, they are rooted. Even though they are rooted, the plants come out of the water surface. In the last stage, that is rooted plants with floating leaves, only the leaves have come out of the surface of the water. But now here you can see half of their bodies can come above the water surface. Examples are reed grasses, typha, that is shown in the picture, and zizania, that is wild rice, to form a reed swamp. Especially in North American usage, this habitat is called as a marshy area. These plants have creeping rhizomes which knit the mud together to produce large quantities of leaf litter. This litter is resistant to decay and reed peat builds up, accelerating the autogenic change. The surface of pond is converted into water saturated marshy land. Now, in the rooted and submerged stage, we have seen that the bottom has become shallow and it has become something around 2 to 5 feet in depth. In the rooted plants with floating leaf stage, we have seen that it has come to 1 to 2 feet, 1 to 3 feet itself. Now, when we come to the reed swamp stage, because of their growth, the grasses or cattails or the wild rice, these plants, they grow, multiply in such a way that their organic matter, their bodies disintegrate, make more organic matter, and now the pond will become, it is not to be called as a pond, now it is to be called as water saturated marshy land. So now we see that there is no depth for the pond. Then sedge meadow stage. Water surface of the pond is nearly covered by vegetation. That is what we have seen just now, just before this slide. Successive decreases in water level and changes in substratum help members of Cyperaceae and Gramineae, such as carrot species, Juncus species, to establish themselves in this particular area. They form a mat of vegetation extending towards the center of the pond. So slowly the pond has now become land, but here also there is a little bit of presence of water. But because of the growth of grasses such as Cyperaceae members and Gramineae members, even more soil is bound by the roots which are occupying the center of the pond, and then a kind of this mat of vegetation slowly extends from the periphery of the pond towards the center of the pond. So they knit the soil further. The above water leaves, that is whatever the plants which are submerged in the center of the pond, they are having leaves, some below the water, some of the leaves below the water, some of the leaves above the water. So the above water leaves, they transpire water so that it lowers the water level further and add additional leaf litter to the soil. Eventually, sedge peat accumulates above the water level and soil is no longer totally waterlogged. Just now we had the reed peat, that is the leafy debris of the reed plants. Now here we are coming across sedge peat, that is the leaf debris or whatever it is, the dead and decaying parts of the sedge or grasses which is growing in this area, they become sedge peat and accumulates above the water level, and the soil now becomes dry, or it is having the normal levels of water. It is no longer waterlogged. The habitat becomes suitable for invasion of herbs such as mentha, caltha, iris, galium, which grow luxuriantly and bring further changes to the environment. Slowly, from hydric conditions, hydrophytic conditions, mesic conditions develop and marshy vegetation begins to disappear. So this is water mint, mentha. So these are all the species which grow near the water and slowly make it into land. Then comes the woodland stage. The soil now remains drier for most of the year and becomes suitable for development of wet woodland. It is invaded by shrubs and trees such as salix, that is willow, and alnus, alder, and populus, that is poplar. The diagrams are given below. These plants react upon the habitat by producing shade, lower the water table still further by transpiration, and build up the soil and lead to the accumulation of humus with associated microorganisms. This type of woodland is normally called as scar. So here what happens is the marshy areas now has become completely wet woodland where trees such as salix, alnus, and populus grow, and they further reduce the water table, and slowly by transpiration etc. then they build up the soil also, and because of their huge biomass, once the leaves come down, humus proportion also increases, and accordingly the microorganisms which are disintegrating the humus also increases. The climax stage. Finally, a self-perpetuating climax community develops. It may be a forest if the climate is humid. So when water vapor or moisture is more in the area, then slowly the climax, that is the wet woodland, slowly gives rise to a forest kind of vegetation. This is the climax stage. If it is subhumid, then a grassland develops, and if it is arid or semi-arid conditions, a desert will grow, or desert is a climax community. Desert plants are the climax community in that particular area. A forest is characterized by presence of all types of vegetation, including herbs, shrubs, mosses, shade-loving plants, and trees. Decomposers are very, very frequent in climax vegetation. The overall changes taking place during development of successional communities are building up of substratum. So what we see in these water bodies is building up of substratum, shallowing of water level, addition of humus and minerals, soil building, and aeration of soil. Ultimately, water is completely given off, water table is deep down, but the soil loses its water and it is having air spaces with air filled up in it. As a water body fills in with sediment, the area of open water decreases and vegetation types moves inwards as water becomes shallower. Slowly from the edges, the plants will move towards the center. Many of the above mentioned communities can be seen growing together in a water body. The center is occupied by floating and submerged plants with reeds near at the shores, followed by sedges and rushes growing at the edges. Still further are shrubs and trees occupying the dry land. So this is how a hydrosphere is. You can see slowly you are finding the these are the gradual change in the plant communities. If you see, maybe the entire pond was from the tree level till here, but slowly these areas are being filled up with sand, silt, etc. And you can see the change in the vegetation. First it is a phytoplankton stage, then the rooted and submerged stage, rooted and floating leaf stage or floating stage, then reed swamp stage, sedge meadow stage, woodland stage, and finally the climax stage. These are all the various plant communities which occupy this pond or this particular water body, and these are all the serial stages that you see in a hydrosphere. Thank you.